Welcome back, YouTubers. GreaseNet86 here. You might be wondering what you're looking at. Some of you will know automatically that yes, this is your one-piece aluminum rear drive shaft for this here 2006 Chevrolet Z71 Crew Cab. Alright, a lot of complaints, especially on these trucks when they reach about 80,000 or more miles, is the notorious driveline clunk when they shift from park to drive or reverse. Let's discuss that here. So that right there on this particular truck is the transfer case output shaft. It does marry up to the rear of the transmission. Mine is a four-wheel drive, therefore I have an extra component. On your two-wheel drive trucks, it will just come straight directly out of the transmission tail shaft. Anyhow, so let's talk about this. Now, if you were to take your hand and you were to put it on this drive shaft and you were to spin clockwise or counterclockwise, there really shouldn't be much movement. In my particular case, there is zero. And that is not because I don't have a problem, that is because of the way I'm currently parked. So everything in my drive line is real tight. So I'll do the best that I can to describe what it is that I'm talking to you about now. All right. So when you shift your truck from park to reverse, this drive shaft will be engaged by the transmission output shaft. That shaft is connected to the internals of the transmission, which spin clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on the direction in which you're trying to drive. Alright, so what happens is this slip yoke right here, and what I mean by slip yoke, this is a yoke. It is a U-shaped piece that slides on to a universal joint connecting to the drive shaft. Now, it has itself a shafted portion that inserts inside this seal here through a bearing onto a splined output shaft. Alright, what I mean by slides on, that means this piece here is hollow on the inside and it is splines. Now what happens is, when you have two pieces of metal that are constantly touching each other in different directions, right, they start to wear out. So you get gaps in these drive shaft, these slip yokes here. It's a GM design, all right, but there's a solution. Go online, look up your model truck, and look for a nickel-plated slip yoke. Make sure you grease it. Put it on there. You put the grease on the inside of here. Just take a grease gun, put some on the inside of there, use your finger and smooth it out. Don't go in and out like this because you're just going to be taking the grease out that you just put in. You want a circular motion so you're filling the splines up with the grease. Don't put so much in there that whenever you go to put the slip yoke back on or your drive shaft assembly back in, that grease is spewing out of that damn seal there. Does two things. One, you're going to be slinging grease everywhere, and two, you put too much grease in there and you run the risk of grease backing itself back into your transfer case or your transmission tail shaft. Now, like I was saying, this being a lubricated part as well, it does have automatic transmission fluid that is in and around this section here. Won't be much. If this seal is good, it won't be leaking, but like I said, that grease can work its way back into the transmission, and then you're going to be junking up your valve body, and you're going to start having transmission issues, cross-contamination of lubrication. Alright, 9 times out of 10, that's going to solve your driveline clunk. That is the most common issue. The second most common issue is these universal joints. Alright, so these universal joints connect your slip yoke to your drive shaft, and basically it is there so that whenever you hit a bump and the rear end of your truck goes up or down, it's pivoting here on the drive line. Alright, when it spins, it's constantly in rotation whenever you're in motion, so it needs a way to be able to articulate up and down with the bumps in the road. So that's what the U-joint it does. So going down to that, if you're driving real slow through a parking lot and you hear a clicking noise, it's more than likely your U-joint. These U-joints have caps on them. It's a 4-studded plus symbol or X-shaped piece of metal with studs that look like my finger. And then these caps go right on the ends of those studs. And there's a bunch of needle bearings in there. And when I say needle bearing, now imagine the tube of a pin, very small and thin, just lining the outer edge of the inside of these caps. And these are packed with grease. What happens is, over the years and exposure to the elements, especially in wet and dusty conditions, water and dirt will find their way in there no matter what, because it's rubber, it will degrade. And that grease will force itself out or get dried up or get washed out, and then there's no more lubrication in there. So then your needle bearings don't have any lubrication. They're not spinning or rotating the way they need to or moving the way they need to, and they break, they disintegrate, and before you know it, you have a free-floating stud in that universal joint cap. That cap can break, causing that stud to now wallow around in this circular section of either the slip yoke or the drive shaft itself, and you'll get an even nastier noise. All right, hopefully that helps.